Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Pravajantam Anupeta Abeta Krityam Rapaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Binerus Tam Savabhutam Hridayam Munimanatosmi Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaivanarottamam Devim Saraswatam Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayat Bhaktya Vihina Parada Lakshay Keep Tashtakamari Tarangamadye Kripa Maitam Sharanam Prapana Vende Namaste Charanada Vindam Tave Vasmi Najivami Tvaya Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayanam Charanandike Vancha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So we begin by offering our most humble obeisance unto the lotus feet of our beloved Gurus, unto Sri Guru Pada Padmaniti Leda Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pada Asto Talsat Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Rashvila Prabhupada and Sri Guru Pada Padmaniti Leda Bhavishta Om Vishnu Pada Asto Talsat Sri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Raj under our exalted Rupanuga Guru Varga and all the Sama Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. So, we've been hearing from a beautiful little book, The Holy Dust of Braj, Discourses on Sri Kesava Vrata and Chandanyatra. Yesterday we're hearing about Krishna learning how to serve, right? That he's accepting so much service from so many, and Krishna always feels indebted to his beloveds. And as he says in Bhagavad Gita, what does he say? Ye yatamam prapadyante tangstataiva bhajamyaham. Right? As you surrender unto me, I reward you accordingly, or in whatever mood you desire to serve me, I will reciprocate. If you want to be my mother or my friend or my beloved, and this is your true unmixed, pure desire, then I will certainly reciprocate with that. I want to reciprocate with that. But the topmost servant is Srimati Radhika, and Krishna is so indebted, overwhelmed by her service, that he wants to reciprocate. And ultimately, as we realize, he becomes so astonished by her service and her extraordinary joy in that service, so pure, so selfless, and yet so joyful that it exceeds even his own. And he says, wow, what is that? I want to taste that as well. So in the meeting and separation and the joy of the mutual service between Radha and Krishna awakens the mood to experience the position of the devotee, which he takes as Lord Chaitanya. But don't think that Lord Chaitanya is created at some point, or Radha and Krishna were created at one point. Sometimes in the language of the scripture, Radha and Krishna are one, but they've separated eternally for the purpose of pastimes, right? Now these two have again joined together and become Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's stated like this in Chaitanya Charitamrita, but of course the meaning is they've always been like that, but Leela also has its own sequence. And so Krishna internally does feel like that at one point. But at the same time, in Vrindavan, there's that beautiful pastime in Nilavan, where they, Niruvan, where they have been spending the night together. And in the morning, Radhika expresses, I had the most extraordinary dream last night. I'm bewildered by it. And Krishna asks her to explain. And she says, in this dream, I saw this beautiful Brahmin boy, golden complexion. He was like you, looked like you, but he wasn't you. And he was running up and down the bank of a river that was like the Jamuna, but it wasn't the Jamuna. In a forest that was like Braj, but wasn't Braj. There's some difference. And he was calling out, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. And sometimes I was thinking he was you, but his mood of devotion to you, he's calling out, hey Krishna, and then he's calling out, hey Radhe. Sometimes I felt that he was you, sometimes I felt that he was me. And I felt attracted to him, but I'm only attracted to you. I don't know what to think of this. And Krishna smiled, and then he showed her a vision in his Kaustuba jewel on his chest, and she looked into it, and she saw that same pastime taking place in that jewel. And he said, oh, Radhika, you know everything already. This is indeed me, right? But he is indeed you. This is me experiencing your very moods by your mercy. You have enveloped me in your own complexion, in your own moods, so that I can taste the love that you taste. So they are one and the same, and one and different eternally. So, we left off with Krishna yearning to take up that mood of service to Srimati Radhika. And again, we're hearing over and over the mood of service. It's such a wonderful thing. Why? Because it's embodied in Krishna himself. Krishna has this mood of service to Radha. And Radha, the source of all of us, has this mood of service. That is, she's the energy from which we are embodied. That is there as well. And so we do this Mangala Charana every morning. And what are we praying for? We're praying for the mercy and service to our predecessor gurus, and by that service and by their mercy, that which happened to Brajanab, a great, great devotee, great-grandson of Krishna, but he was praying to Giriraj, to all the places and great personalities in Vrindavan, please reveal yourself to me, and that's how it happens. It happens by prayer, it happens by service, but not direct service. It appears that we're serving the deity directly sometimes, right? We're on the altar, we're cooking, we're doing this and that, but actually we're always serving through our line of teachers, through our line of gurus, and through the devotees that are disciples of that guru, those gurus. Never forget that. That's what we have to learn and embody in our life. The more we embrace that mood of happy surrender and service to the devotees, the more the shackles of false ego and pride fall away from us. And they are shackles. They only cause us unhappiness. You know, the desire to be served, the desire to be independent, to do our own thing, that separates us from bathing in that beautiful river of Ladini and Samvit Shakti, right? Pure Bhakti. Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma, right? So hearing that even Krishna is in this mood, what was Krishna's service? He would collect many flowers and make garlands. He would comb Radharani's hair and decorate her with the flowers he had collected. He would also paint Radharani's hands and perform many other services. Thus Krishna became expert in many arts and services. How do we know this, that he was doing this? Well, there are many books by our Goswamis, but especially if you read the Sri Vilap Kushmanjali by Raghunath Das Goswami, talking about the intimate service in the kunjas of Radha and Krishna, and before that, when Radhika's Sakhis are preparing her, when they're in the kunja serving together, when Krishna is also there many beautiful pastimes, and Krishna wanting to paint the feet of Radhika, wanting to comb her hair, wanting to put the ornaments on. And sometimes she would accept it, sometimes she would reject it and say, oh, you don't know. And say, now you do. And she would call one of her intimate Sakhis like Rati Manjari, Rupa Manjari, you show him how to do it. And then Krishna would learn from them. Imagine what a wonderful display of Leela, of pastimes. Radharani is Mahabhav Sarupini. She is Krishna's Swarup Shakti. You must not think of her as an ordinary lady or goddess. Just like sometimes people think of Krishna as one of many gods. Oh, there are many gods, many gods. I remember years ago when I was living in the Bay Area, Concord area, and I was shopping at one Indian store. And that's a tech area, so many, many Indian families, and this whole gaggle of housewives, Indian housewives were there, because they're living the life in America, right? They got husbands who are making, a lot of money. They live in these nice homes, and they get the best of everything. And they just gather at these stores together to chat and talk and gossip, Gramya Katha. And then one of them says, oh, I have begun worshiping the gods. And the others say, oh, which gods do you worship? And he goes, oh, I worship all the gods same. I worship this god, that god. Oh, yeah, very nice, very nice. None of them are worshiping any gods, or goddesses. It's just an affectation. They've forgotten their culture, and they don't know. They've got pictures of everybody up there, right? And they can't distinguish or differentiate. And they certainly don't understand how Vishnu, Krishna, is the supreme and the source of the power of the other gods, that he's giving them their assignments and the power to complete them. Right? But those who think that all the gods are the same and they're equally powerful, that's Bahu Ishvara Vad, the idea. That's a great misconception. Right. Remember that house we were talking about that we lived in? We had that giant roof, and we'd chant. You go to the edge of the roof and look out over the street in front. Right across the street in front of us was a little shop. And this shopkeeper would open up the gate every morning, and then he would set things up, and then he'd get a little incense out. And on his back wall, behind the counter, were pictures. And the pictures of all the gods, pictures of Jesus, pictures of Buddha, pictures of Muhammad, everybody. He had everybody there. And he did artik to all of them, right? Because he didn't know for sure who was topmost, so he wasn't taking any chances, right? So he just worshiped them all. We're so blessed. We're getting this theological conception that's completely complete. It includes everybody. There's no disrespect to any demigod, to any great acharya or previous teacher, but all will be very happy when they are worshipped according to their own relationship with Krishna. And so Krishna now, his relationship we're hearing about is that deep love for Srimati Radhika, who is Mahabhav Sarupini. She is Krishna's Swarup Shakti, not an ordinary lady or goddess. Mahabhava Sarupatvam, Krishna Priya Variyasi, Prema Bhakti Prade Devi, Radhike Tvam Namam Yaham. O Srimati Radharani, you are the exalted form of Mahabhav. Therefore, you are most dear to Krishna. O Goddess, you alone are able to bestow pure love for the Supreme Lord. Therefore, I offer my humble obeisance unto you. Radha Tattva is beautifully also described in a condensed way, but very authoritatively, in verses quoted by Krishnadas Kaviraj and spoken by Ramananda Roy to Mahaprabhu in that extraordinary 8th chapter, again, of the Madhya Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita. When Mahaprabhu wanted to know the topmost truth and the highest form of devotion and how to achieve it, Ramananda Roy went step by step, the evolution of theological conception from Varnashram all the way up to Prem, ordinary Prem, and then Raganuga, and Raganuga expressed through Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, and then Madhurya. Gopis are the topmost, and of all the gopis, Radhika topmost. And Mahaprabhu was so pleased to hear these verses. So you can look at that. It's very beautiful, very sweet. Krishna underwent extensive training, learning how to serve Radharani. The devotees eternally pray under the guidance of Krishna. When will I also serve Srimati Radharani? When will I get a continuous chance and service tendency? Yeah, when will that service tendency awaken in us? You want to fan the flame of that service tendency? That's what a mat is for. The mat is meant to create that environment. And ideally, everyone living in the mat is 100% engaged all day. Happily, though. Not sluggishly, not in the mood of an unwilling slave, but happily. Oh, I'm so fortunate to be here. Guru and me were talking about that the other day. When we came, part of it might have been the cultural conditions of the time, that youth of our age were imbued with the idea of becoming part of something grand, part of something that was culture changing, culture uplifting. Many people had that idea. And so when we were allowed to join the temple, ISKCON temple, that service mood was already there, But when it was applied in that environment, it produced a feeling and a happiness unlike anything we'd ever had. And everybody in the temples in those days, you were just mourning from can see to can't see. You were engaged. You woke up, happily go to Mangal Artik, right? Happily take that 1 minute shower, cold shower. We had this line of 10 people lining up, 20 people. Haribo Prabhu, 1 minute showers, come on. And actually no one took too long a shower anyway, because there was no hot water, even in the winter. It was, And then you just run down to Artik so you could get a good spot, see the deities. And then after that, you're chanting your japa, we'd have our Guru Puja, we'd have a great Bhagavatam class. And then immediately, whatever your seva was, maybe go in the kitchen, maybe go to the press, whatever. Breakfast was there. Then lunch. Some devotees go out on Harinams, come on, book distribution. And then you just work hard all day, whatever it was. And then you come back and you shower as quick as you could because you wanted to go to Artik. And that Artik was very happy. I see kirtan parties today and Artik, and and sometimes people are really happy and jumping up and down. A lot of times it's just like this. Of course, a lot of times it's because it's old guys like us, and we don't have that youthful energy. But I'm telling you, the taste of those Artiks, the shadow happiness, shadow ecstasies, very profound. And it all goes to that embracing the idea of seva. Don't cheat yourself of seva. Don't allow the mind to overcome you and keep you away from that. It's the greatest gift. Krishna even went under training. We have to also go under training. How to do it. From the first day you go there and they show you how to wash pots. Actually, even before I joined the temple, I remember after the feast, we said, can we help? And they said, yeah, take these pots to be cleaned. So I went from that downstairs prasadam room through the little hallway, and there's the kitchen. So I turned into the kitchen. Remember that devotee I told you, Bhadra, head of the cook, She was there and she saw me, she goes, guardian of the gate. No prasadi pots in the kitchen. They went to a separate place to be washed. So I took him to there, right? And that was the awakening of Seva. And then having a chance to go out on Harinam Sankirtan with the devotees. And how happy that was. And got many lessons in that. I remember one lesson in particular. It was the end of the day, we were chanting, and then we were walking back to the bus, the school bus that we all went out in. No floor, just sitting on it. And one devotee, his name was Hari Basara. He was this very short, stocky devotee, black-bodied. He could play mridanga all day and all night, and he loved kirtan. And some idiot from a distance saw the Sankirtan party and took a big rock and he threw it, and I saw it going through the air. And it went through the air and it hit Hari Basar right in the chest. Mr. Mridanga. And I was so furious I was going to run down the slope and attack that guy. You know? But Hari Basar, what he did, he just went, doom, and then he went, oh, like that. Like that. And it was such an expression of humility. Oh, whatever, Krishna sent this. I was struck by that. And I was kind of stunned, but it was very impactful. I thought, wow, what a great devotee. And even to this day, I saw him a few years ago when Gurudev was in the Bay Area. I guess a few years ago, over 20. But he was there and in the chanting party. And yeah, such an, and on that same day when we were going back in the bus, this devotee, his name Chetiraj, he wasn't Chetiraj yet. He was going to be initiated in another month when Srila Prabhupada came. But he had a paper copy of a poem by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And that was hard. I mean, mostly we didn't have printed anything. But it was the poem Sahagrahi Vaishnava, right? Where, he's talking about all the glories of the Vaishnava. And then it ends with, onward on to Vrindavan, and Spirit's power declare, right? And the poem was so inspiring. And when he got to that, I was just listening to it enraptured. And when he got to that part, and lead us on to Vrindavan, and Spirit's power declare, I thought, lead me on to Vrindavan. I didn't know what Vrindavan was. I knew it was some kind of spiritual destination, but I wanted to go there, right? So the environment, he's a brand new devotee. Well, he must have been there 6 months or something, But he's already infused with this energy and happiness and power. He was such a happy devotee. He was so kind to everybody, so humble. I wanted to be like him. I wanted to go to Vrindavan. Right, so that's immersion in a culture. And this is what will happen. To achieve this, Keshav took up this vrat. To achieve what? How will I serve Radharani? How will I get a continuous chance and service tendency? To achieve this, Keshav took up this vrat. On another side, Vajranabh, Uddhav, Nard, and the rest of the devotees began their vrat on the banks of Govardhan. They started their worship. Their worship was similar to how Gopal Bhatta Goswami worshipped the Shalagram Shila. Gopal Bhatta Goswami would apply sandalwood paste and offer tulsi leaves to Shalagram Shila. On the full moon of the month of Vaishak, the Shalagram manifested as Radha Raman. I wonder if that's the beginning or the last Purnima, because we're in that month. It must be coming, because otherwise it would have been in the calendar. So that's a wonderful experience. The Shalagram manifested as Radha Raman. Similarly, Keshav Dev manifested himself after Vajranabh and Uddhav had worshipped him throughout this month. On this day, devotees should worship Keshav Dev with clay pots full of water and many delicious drinks. The rishis only worship Shalagram Shila with tulsi leaves and Ganga water. Sri Hari is very pleased by such service. Sri Hari states, I will not accept anything unless it is offered with Tulsi. Therefore, Mahaprabhu had said, O Raghunath, you need only worship Krishna with Tulsi leaves. Dui dike, dui patra madhye koma manjari. E mata ashta manjari dibe shraddha kori. This is from Antya-lila. With faith and love, you should offer... Oh, wait a minute, got to get this going again. Okay. With faith and love, you should offer 8 soft tulsi manjaris, each with 2 tulsi leaves, 1 on each side of each flower. Who else worshipped Krishna with tulsi leaves and water and got the most amazing result? Advaita Acharya, right? He somehow or other, Krishna himself has to come down to deliver these people. Things have gotten so bad, but only with tulsi and water, and of course, his loud, heartfelt prayers, right? The purity of his prayers. But all 3 of those together. So Mahaprabhu gave a Govardhan Shila to Raghunath. He told him to worship Giriraj with 8 tulsi manjaris and water from a pitcher. Mahaprabhu then arranged for Swarup Damodar to give kaja, a special sweet fried in ghee, also known as Jagannath tongue, for Giriraj to Raghunath Das Goswami. Right, this kaja. You know who makes the best kaja? Our Rasikananda Maharaj learned how to make kaja under the direction of devotees, and he makes it so well that one time Premananda Prabhu had instructed all the devotees to make sweets for Gurudev, and hundreds of devotees made all kinds of sweets, and they're all out there, and Gurudev looked, oh my God. But then after they left, Gurudev said, send me the kaja. He made this beautiful kaja with pistachio nuts sprinkled over it. Yeah, he really has it down. He really has it down. Krishna likes this. Krishna likes this. And how did he get so good at that? Because he followed instructions and the mood very, very sincerely of his mentor, Shiksha Guru, Premananda Prabhu, and then he became empowered to cook like that. Thus, Raghunath Das Goswami could offer kaja to Giriraj. Mahaprabhu instructed Das Goswami to honor all others without expecting respect from anyone in return, and to always serve Radha Krishna in his mind, in Braj. Manasi Seva is especially important in our sampradaya. But how can you know how to do Manasi Seva if you don't practically serve as well? Manasi Seva is not very easy. After trying to do Manasi Seva for some time, you may think this is all speculation. Therefore, Vigraha Seva, right? Seva of the deity, is one of the 5 most prominent limbs of devotion. By properly doing Vigraha Seva, you will be able to naturally enter Manasi Seva. Right. That verse, 5 most important things. It's mentioned at the end of the 64 limbs, but it says these 5 are mentioned last, but they're actually the most important. Right? You know what they are? You know that verse? Sadhu, Sanganama, Kirtan, Bhagavat, Shravan, Shri Mutiravasa, Shri Mutiravasa, Shri Mutira Shradaya Sevan. So, Namakir, Sadhu Sangha, association with great sadhu, Namakirtan, chanting the holy name, Bhagavat Shravan, hearing transcendental scripture, Mathura Vas, living in the Holy Dham, and Sri Murtira Shraddhaya Sevan, serving the form of the deity with great, great faith. Right? One of the 5 most important things mentioned by Rupa Goswami. And when you do that, what does that do? If you want to do Manasi Seva, which is actually really only done in Bhav, at the same time, we're practicing Manasi Seva by hearing. And when we do our chanting, we try to remember the pastimes that we've heard, right? But also, we're serving the deity, chanting in front of the deity, and remembering the deity. I remember the first time we ever went on traveling Sankirtan out of Brooklyn, out of New York. It had hardly ever been done anywhere. None of the temples were doing it. We always lived in the temple. And let's see, who was there? Lokamangala was there. Apurva was there. Apurva's brother, what's his name? His original name was Jeremy. What was it? Anyway, and Lokamangala and Gorhari was the leader, and me. And we were going out, and we begged for everything. Gorhari had prepared a big box of granola. Everything else we begged, right? We'd go door to door in the morning through neighborhoods in America, early in the morning, and ask for whatever they would give. We're monks, we're traveling. And if you give some fruit or vegetables or anything, and some people give rice and all. And even gasoline we begged for. And a place to stay we begged for. We'd go to parks at night, right? And hippies and everybody would congregate in those parks and do drumming and hang out. And Lokamangala would usually make the speech. He had this very powerful theater voice, you know. And he would speak to them. And we would always end up with a place to stay. But we were feeling separated from the deity. Like, oh, we're out here, Krishna's in the temple. Krishna's only in the temple. That's how we're feeling. We're feeling distressed. And then one night, we were staying at this place in the back of some hippie house. They'd made a plywood shack, and they called it the crash pad. And they let visiting people sleep there. So we were in there, and it was just plywood everywhere, nothing finished. But they had a little closet, and we opened the closet, and on the shelf of the closet were these masks. And it was Jagannath and Subhadra. Baladev wasn't there, but Jagannath and Subhadra. And we had this amazing revelation. Oh, Krishna's not abandoned us. He's with us all the time, right? And so we didn't have faith, so he's appeared to us in this form, right? And then we had the mask, and we made a little altar with them, and we put them in our van. And then we had the first inkling that Krishna's in your heart. He's always with you. He'll never abandon you. It seems like an obvious realization, but it just gives you a sense of how the faith and knowledge, Sambandha Gyan, begins from the smallest level, and Krishna will help to nurture it and protect us, right? Yoga Kshemam Vahamyaham. We're never going to be abandoned. He'll always preserve our bhakti and protect what we have and carry what we lack. And so actually, it's very powerful. And then from then on, we're always happy and content. Gradually, traveling Sankirtan happened more and more. And so it came to be that, years later, we were in a van party. We never went to a temple an entire year. Went once for Radhastami, and once to pick up some books at another temple, and that was it. Right? But we never felt a lack. We always felt connected. Every night we'd put on a tape of Srila Prabhupada on a repeating cassette, and he'd be singing bhajans, and we'd go to sleep with that, and we'd wake up with that, and we always felt connected. So, where were we? Oh yeah, so Manasi Seva, serving within the mind, is reinforced and established by doing practical seva, serving the deity, serving in the temple. When you come to realize that the whole temple, the whole complex, everything, it's just an extension of their dham, their kingdom. It's all theirs. It's not ours. We're being given a place to stay. We're given a roof over our heads. We're being given the remnants of their food. Everything. They're giving us everything. We're not doing anything. We think we are. Oh, if you think I'm the one that's giving money, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you're an illusion. You're an illusion. After giving Diksha and Harinam, Sri Guru gives deity service to the initiated devotees. He tells them, you should worship the deity. Then you will get a relationship with the Lord. Raghunath Das Goswami would worship Giriraj Govardhan every day. How would Mahaprabhu worship Giriraj? Mahaprabhu would bathe Giriraj with his tears and place Giriraj on his head or chest. As Kali Yuga progresses, the holy rivers like Ganga and Jamuna will gradually decline and disappear. And most of Sri Tulsi, Shalagram, Shastras, Vaishnavas, and the Bhagavatam will disappear. Before, every household would worship Shalagram. They would blow on the conch early in the morning, and ringing the bell, they would worship Shalagram. They would sprinkle Charanamrita on themselves and distribute it to others as well. They would diligently offer boga and partake of the prasad. And they would do artik in the evening. But now, Shalagram is rarely seen. Rasik Maharaj just returned from Oman and stayed with the family there. And it was quite unique because the father, whose grandfather aged the most, in his 70s, they have a large compound, very wealthy family, billionaires, right? And it's in his house is right next to different embassies, which tells you the kind of neighborhood it's in. And yet, despite all this opulence, his house is very simple inside, even though it's quite large. And in the back, in the yard, there's a huge goshala where he serves the cows every day, and a huge garden of tulsis that he serves, and he has many shalagrams. And every morning, for hours and hours, he does full puja. And even though he's very wealthy, he's very detached. And he is always looking for service opportunities. It used to be everybody was like that. Now there are very few enclaves of service. We're trying to create that kind of mood. It's said by Vaishnavas that wherever there's a temple, wherever the holy name is being chanted and the deities are being served, 100 miles is gradually becoming purified. And you get symptoms of that. Gradually, qualified people with adhikar, with the samskars that are now maturing, will begin to come, some for a day, some to do seva, but the path of devotion is being eliminated. This place is like a beacon, like a lighthouse, and it's illuminating. And so the more that we all ourselves embrace this mood and become like this ourselves, this place will become an increasing magnet and give us even more and more opportunities for wonderful service to our Guru Parampara, to Sri Nitai Gauranga, who wanted this. They wanted that this love be spread everywhere. Now we've got a taste. The only way to repay it is to distribute it. The only way to distribute it is to live it, right? Every day. So try to take something of this service ideal. Don't just, sit in class out of duty and then go and forget about it. We'll tell the story another time about the skull with the coconut stick going through 2 ears. It's very appropriate, but so we'll stop here and we'll do again tomorrow. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shri Guru Parampara ki jai, Shri Radharaman ki jai, Shri Lalita Vishaka, Shri Rupa Manjari, Rati Manjari, Adi Saki Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Bo, Hari Bo.